women calling other women out. Why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you holding... Hi, I'm Amik. Why aren't you holding other women to account? Why are you not doing it? That live last night was horrific. It was full of lies, manipulation, fabrication, all the typical traits of a woman. Yeah, she was sitting there with her little friend, giggling and laughing, interrupting me all the time. No, I'm just bored, Mark. I am going to do a proper one at 8, so then the countdown. You know, I just got a little bit bored and peckish, and I thought I'm going to have a cup of tea and a little cake, and I dropped the fucking cake on the floor. So I've got the cup of tea, and I thought, what have I got? Oh, pot noodle. So I thought I'll have a pot noodle then, and I'll come online, and I'll do a little song and dance, if you know what I mean. Hi, Dee. So, yeah, I want to know why it's okay for women to run around the app with this type of picture and this subject, calling all men out, all men. But I've never seen one of them calling women out. You know? Now, the strangest thing is about it is, I know for a fact men don't spend on this app, so you get no gifts from men, right? It's mostly women that spend on this app and young people. So you don't get gifts from men, because men don't do that, right? But you go on one of these women's, all men's lives, and the gifts are flying in from all these Justice. You can do one, right? All these gifts fly in from women, you know, of support. Yeah, it's all men till there's no men. Well, guess what? Tonight, it's going to be all women till it's no women. Well done, Mark. Right? I want to know why people like Justice, for instance, yeah? Why did Justice turn her back on me without evidence last night, yeah? Without listening to the truth, without listening to the facts, yeah? That's what Justice did, you know? And it was disgusting what you called me, Justice. Absolutely disgusting. Come and see me at 8 o'clock. So, you keep calling me them names. You called me a PDF last night. You made a comment on there about me having a kid's picture. That was, and I'm going to reiterate, that picture was sent to me by their mother. Yeah? You also called me an abuser. I'll pull up the live, actually. I can pull it up, Justice. I will prove it. You call me an abuser because I'm telling a woman off for her bad behaviour. I'm not... No, that's right, Justice. I'm not going to delete it. Let me tell you something, Justice, right? I'm going to put it to you in plain English because I know you're not that intelligent, right? Right? The police have seen the messages. They have instructed me, under no circumstances, delete any of them messages. Yeah? Do not delete. If I do, I could be arrested and charged with perverting the course of justice. I'm not going to go through all of that just because somebody doesn't like it. Right? You've got to remember, Claire. Yes, to keep an image of a child. Yes, it's evidence. Are you still not getting it? It's evidence. It's part of another message. There is other writing in that message. There's other writing on that photograph. I've got to keep it for. Well, you tell me, Louise, sorry. Yeah, you tell me. So, Justice, that instruction was given to me by the police. Do not delete any of them pictures or any of them screenshots or any of them messages. Anything that came from Claire, do not delete. Anything that came from Geraldine, do not delete. they would take it and tell you not to keep it. I've been told the same. The police do not take victims' phones, by the way, so I don't know where you're getting that from. If you're the victim of a crime, if you're the actual victim, yeah, they don't take your phone off you. They can download it, which is what I'm waiting for an appointment for, and I said that to them last night. Jenny, when the police tell me to, I'm not taking instructions, yeah, from a bunch of winos on TikTok, yeah. I'm going to wait until the police tell me what to do. And when they say, we've got it, we don't need it anymore, or you don't need it anymore, you can delete it if you wish, I will then delete it. And rhinos. Yeah, that's what they are, Louise. That's exactly what they are. Exactly what they are. I couldn't put it better myself. So, Jenny, that's when they tell me to, I will do that. That's exactly what my intentions are, because I don't really want anything from Claire on my phone. Once the police have dealt with her, yeah, in whatever way they deem fit, then it's over with, isn't it? So you lot jumped on me from a very high moral building last night without actually knowing that I've got evidence. Do you know that Claire tried to delete the evidence last night on another TikTok, on another app? Yeah, I'll say. She deleted stuff from that other app. She deleted all her comments from it. She deleted all the pictures from it. I got told, I woke up this morning to a message from somebody saying, why has Claire deleted all the stuff out of our group chat? I said, I don't know. She must have panicked last night. Justice, I didn't report her until about the 25th of May or thereabouts, when Claire encouraged Geraldine to make a false report against me. Right, when she made Geraldine to make a false report against me, the police came to my house to take my phone, and when they read the messages and saw what Geraldine had sent me, pictures that she had sent me of other identifiable men, they realised that they'd been had. I am Doran, I'm just coming on because I'm bored now. And they realised that in actual fact, I was the victim, along with a load of other males, that Geraldine had actually been sending their private messages, their private pictures between them to other people. Geraldine was sending them to other people. And you see, Claire didn't know that. So when Claire encouraged her to go to the police and report me for harassment, right? And in fact, Durham, do you want to come up because you know about this? I didn't actually do anything to Geraldine. Geraldine just why didn't you stand up for me? Because you're in the wrong, Geraldine. This is another reason why this is up here, Louise, yeah? So this was a woman who couldn't take responsibility or accountability for her actions. I called her out on it, so she phoned the police and said, you're harassing me. So basically, then the police look at my phone. They realised that she sent me quite a lot of revealing pictures from 7 different identifiable men. That was actually against the law. When they realised I hadn't actually spoken to her for several weeks, they didn't understand what the complaint was. So they dealt with that complaint. Then they came back to me, said, right, you did the statement against Geraldine first. Okay, and we're going to download the phone. We'll make an appointment for the man to come and see you about that. I said, okay. Yes, he is supporting me because he knows the truth, Justice. And to be honest, Justice, you're not the most brightest spark in the box, are you, when it comes to men? You've had your fair share of how should we say, cock-ups, huh? You've done your fair share of the rounds. made your big mistakes. So you've got no room to talk. So what exactly are you? What exactly, Justice? Do you think? Yeah. No, I haven't. So not like you're making it up. What about that boy that you used to see? What about all that trouble you gave Wendy Wu over that boy? What was his name again? I know you're opinionated. I know you're a narcissist. I've seen you in lives before, and what you think is hi Curtis. What you think is what you say is the law, and it's not. Because she blabs it off in lives, Louise. Like most women in here, they run their mouths and then don't realise who's sitting there listening to them or who's sitting in the boxes with them, and then they forget about it. You know, men only pretend to forget things. We don't really. But this isn't about justice. It always ends up turning for justice. Yeah, no justice. I'm not doing this. All right. It's not about you today. It's about me, and it's about you lot supporting a woman who's manipulative, who's lied, who's accused her ex-partner of the most terrible crimes. I know, Jenny. That's who I'm talking about, Curtis. Yeah. I thought he was in the room. Yeah. Curtis, that's right. You were sitting there in tears, and I supported you then, Justice. I supported you then when Curtis, thanks for that, Jenny, when he was coming for you, and you were sitting there on Wendy Wu's live and everything. Well, looked that way to me. Like you knew each other very well.
You've got it so
Just
twisted.
remember your TikTok language,
Listen,
Justice.
listen a minute. You've got this so twisted. Number one, Curtis is gay. And I noticed that a long time ago. He was with a woman and he didn't want to be with her, okay?
That's right, yeah. I was just going to say he's been with women.
All right, but he's gay. He's full-fledged gay. So can I just ask you one thing? I'm a masculine woman. What would I do with a feminine man when I'm a masculine woman? I really want to really like kind of build a type of guy. That's what I go for. Do you think Curtis is that?
Well, you're one in a million because most masculine women like feminine men.
No, not me, babe. If you look at my baby dads and things, they're a bit raw.
It's like you'll always notice bigger people.
No, but see, now you've just insinuated and you've just put something on my name which wasn't there. So now can you take that back, please?
Well, I'll take it back then if that's not the case, but that's the impression.
It's definitely not the case. I was never with Curtis. I had beef with Curtis. Curtis got involved in family arguments that never involved him, especially ones where I lost a baby and my baby's dead.
Well, you got yourself involved.
So that's where you got that twisted, didn't you, Stell? So there's no well about it. You got it twisted.
I just said I'll take it back, yeah?
And you just said I was uneducated and I was dumb. So I'll leave it at that and I'll leave you do whatever you're going to do. Just don't bring my name into something you don't know nothing about, please, okay?
What about you when you bringing
What
my
about
name
me?
down?
This has got nothing to do with me, Stell. What's got to do with you and Claire has got nothing to do with me. So stick to your narrative and stick to your point. Don't get me involved in your shit, especially when you're chatting shit, okay? Because you just announced your...
You're talking shit, right? You're talking shit, Justice, because, yeah, and I'm going to say it again. You called me the most terriblest names last night, right? As usual, right? So the darkness has happened, yeah. So I got that impression because of the things you were saying in Wendy Wu's live. I got that impression. So if I'm wrong with that impression, I do apologise for that. But the way you were going on, it was as if the two of you were at it for a long time, you and Curtis. So just that you got involved in me and Claire's business recently and decided to stick up for the manipulating liar, right? You probably done the same way, Wendy Wu and Curtis. It probably had nothing to do with you, and you just thought you'd stick your neb in there for clout. Well, poor Wendy was taking a lot of grief for that. I will always stand by Wendy no matter what. I don't care how many people are watching. I have my opinions just like you have your opinions. I did apologise, Jenny. I did say if they weren't together, I will take that back. Yeah, because I just got the impression that Justice and Curtis were involved more with each other because of the way they were going for each other. So I did apologise for that, Jenny. So let me move back to Claire. So Claire, I've got what she's doing is she's always got somebody that can sit with her, like Alicia or Rosie or somebody, and then that gives her the explosive boost, yeah, of narcissism, right? So can I be in the comment like everyone else, if that's okay? Yeah, of course. I haven't blocked you yet, Justice. I never blocked you. I just put you down. That was all. I mean, disconnected. It's back to the comments. I don't want that to be misconstrued. What I said there. So yeah. So Claire has this like explosion of narcissism when she's with people because they know that they can sit there and they can both talk over you so that that people cannot hear, yeah, the actual answer. So when she goes, and this is you can all listen to the live, well, isn't it true, Stella, that I sent you the message at 1:45? And then I go, well, let me go and check that. And when I come back and I say, yeah, that's right, it was one. That's not. We're talking about this. No, you weren't. You just asked me to check if that was the right thing. And that's the kind of thing she does, yeah. And last night I went through the replay of it all today, right? And I can count 45 times she did that last night. She asked me to show a message. And when I went into my phone to find the message and then bring it up and show it, yeah, she would change the subject. So, no, we've moved on from that. Well, I haven't. I went off to find the message and came back with a message. Yeah, well done, Motorbike Daddy. Nobody cares, right? I did apologise, Justice. If that was not the way it was, then that's fine, yeah? Right? I just got the impression that you and Curtis were more than friends because the way you twos were at each other. Right? So I did take it back and I did apologise, okay? Yes, Motorbike Daddy. Oh, I'm going to be doing this. Well, I'm doing an official one at 8 o'clock tonight, Motorbike Daddy, if you want to join me. Yeah, you're welcome to come up. I just come on now because I was like, I've done a lot of research today on gone through the video from last night. 45 times this woman overspoke me so that I wouldn't be able to tell the truth of what actually happened. So every time I went to tell the truth about it, she would overtalk me to make sure nobody heard me, her and the little friend, yeah? Well, hey, I don't know what happened. Why you feel they had more of an... it was... Jenny, we've moved past that, but I will answer it, right? Justice and Curtis used to be at each other's throats all the time and saying things backwards and forwards. And then there was an incident with the Wendy Wu business and Justice was at Wendy Wu for whatever her part in it was. And Wendy Wu being the foster mother or official or unofficial. I don't know what the hell that was all about because I get all different reasons, for whatever reason, Wendy saw Curtis in a motherly figure, situation. Yeah, so, right. So, for all intents and purposes, it was a mother-son relationship. I know it's not real. I know that, but that's the way it was going. And I don't know, things happened, and Kurt was maybe not. Yeah, and me and Claire were very close to each other at one time until she decided to pull the rug, and she decided to pull the rug purely on the fact that I would not, and I'm going to repeat this, that I would not, make a statement to the court claiming that her partner was abusive, right? She wanted me to make a statement to the court saying, that he had abused her physically and emotionally and financially. And Claire's welcome to come on here tonight. And if she dares come on here tonight, she's welcome to. But if she dares and asks me to show any pictures, any text messages, it will be the full whack, Claire. So if you're listening in the background, because I know you've got another account that you've been spying on me on, right? So you want to come on tonight under your own guise, yeah? Just me and you in the box, nobody else, yeah? I won't be doing your tricks, right? Just me and you in the box, and you will not be gaslighting me. You will not be manipulating me. Yeah, you're going to take accountability, and you're going to take responsibility for your actions. Yeah, and if I dare you to say, show all the messages still. I dare you to say it, because I will. I will show them all. Right? Like the time you told me that a truck had banged into the electric lines and knocked all the power out. You insinuated that I should write in the report that your partner came home and found you on TikTok. Yeah, this is a 40-odd-year-old woman, by the way, right? I found you on TikTok, and that he pulled the fuse out the box so that your computer and phone would go down. And I've got that message. I've got that message where you asked me to write that. Yes, Jenny. Yes, she did. Categorically. She even sent me a link, yeah, that tells you how to structure your statement, how to do it, yeah. And I looked at it and I was just like, I was shocked, really. I was absolutely shocked at the way it was geared up purely towards women, how women should put it up, tell, and every bit of every single paragraph of it is, what did he do to you? What did he do to you? What happened then? Did he leave? Oh, it's all he. No, Gary, he was not. But like all couples have average fights. All couples have average arguments. The man is a professional, and I know that doesn't always count. Yeah. To be honest with you, Jenny, I was gonna, and I did tell her that. I said I've got a good mind to tell the courts the truth about what you're doing, and that's when after she turned on me. Total lies, Gary, and that's why she didn't turn up to court that day. Right? That's exactly why. She spent the whole entire evening, right through the night, trying to convince me that I should drive up to Newcastle, right? And I should go to the court with her. And I did text her back and say, yeah, I should have came to the court with you, for fuck's sake, right? At least. And she then emailed the courts and said, oh, I can't see him today. It's too damaging for me. Oh my God, I'll be triggered and I can't do it. And I can't, oh my God, no. Oh, can you do this and video link it for me? And can you do? And I was like, how did you change so quickly? She has done it to others, Jenny. She has. How did you change so quickly? Because when I left you on TikTok live at 8 o'clock this morning, yeah, you were laughing and joking and still trying to convince me to make these lies up to the court. Yeah, even at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're saying I can ask for an adjournment because you're not going to get here now and things like that, yeah. And then at 10 o'clock in the morning, she's sending emails to the court. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't. No. And they've even offered screens. They said we have no video link things. facilities. Oh, but we have got so the police incident, Jenny, I will answer that. He did raise his voice to her. He was horrible to her that night, and she told me that he had come in from a public house. Can I ask this one question and don't take it the wrong way? Okay, just let me just answer Jenny's. And she was making out to me that he had just started on her, basically. And under them circumstances, Jenny, I would stick up for my friend and say, yeah, he's a horrible, bit, yeah. But since then, since the fallout I've had with her, I've seen court documents and I've seen text messages between the two of them. Right? Wait a minute, Justice. Wait a minute. And when I read the text messages, she had made plans to go to dinner with him that night, and she kept on delaying it, and the poor man sat in the pub with two pizzas, glasses of wine on his own, waiting for her to turn up, and she had no intentions of turning up. And the pub was only down the road. Hi, Paul. Right? So he said, well, can you come and pick me up? Because I've had a drink and I have to leave the car. Right? And she said no. And he went, well, what? So I should just walk back then? On a dark country lane, by the way. Right? She said, yeah, go, yeah, do it. Luckily for him, one of the other clientels had gave him a lift up the road to get home safely. And when he went in, he was pretty pissed off. I will admit to that. He was pretty pissed off. And that's when I heard the phone call of him screaming at her, you're on TikTok with arguing with effing 12-year-olds, you're pathetic. That's ridiculous. You've just let me walk along, blah, blah, blah. And he was a bit horrible. So when I told the police he was horrible, that bit was kind of true, but not to the extent that I've been led to believe. So because that one thing, you could have sent a man down. No, he was, so between me hearing that and the police turning up, she told me that he had hit her. Now, Jenny, if you heard a man screaming at a woman like that, and then you had a thud or a scream, or somebody said he's just punched me, you'd believe it, wouldn't you? You would believe it. Come off it, Jenny. Yeah, you're right, Jacqueline. So when all this was transpiring, that I was being manipulated and lied to by Claire, when it was all coming in and unfolding, that for weeks she had did that to me. She was manipulating and lying to me and trying to direct things. And I sort of, like, my eyes opened up and I went, hold on a minute, that's not what you said the last time. That's not what you said. That don't make sense. That you said that about the electric man hit it with the lorry, and now you're saying that he turned them off. None of it all made sense. And I realised, and then stupidly, she sent me his statement. And I read his statement, and it matches up with all the text messages between the two of them for a couple of days, and including the day of the alleged offence, right? So that's basically what happened there. Right, Sunday's coming up. Amy, darling, wait a minute. Right, hold on. I'm going to go back to Justice. You wanted me to ask you a question, but you realised you could have sent them in. Yeah, we heard that, Jenny. Yeah. Why is it okay to go along with it if you're friends, but then go mad about it after, especially if you did? Right, is that the question? Exactly, Jacqueline. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Too many women do abuse this situation, and it affects real situations. Absolutely, Jacqueline. I've been saying that the whole time. So hold on for the messages to catch up. Is it okay? Right. So I went along with it because I was being told by a woman that she was being abused, and I believed her, just like you lot believe her. Oh, Claire again, Paul. You lot believe her. When she sat there last night saying I was the victim of domestic abuse, you believed her just like I did, and you don't even know her. I do. So I was, trying to be there for a friend. I was trying to be, a friend to this person, and I found out that she had been lying to me the whole time, and that's what the argument was about, Jenny, yeah? It all unfolded, and I realised, you're lying to me. Why are you lying to me about this? And then she started throwing things out there. Arguing with my husband plenty over 20 years. Me too, Jenny. Me too. Plenty of times. You know? I mean, Haley there in the comments, she's not even my partner. I mean, her fight like cat and dog. You know? She only sitting in the comments because I've got her mouth sewn up. And we're just friends. But, you know, you do anything for a friend. Thank you for not confirming. I don't... Oh, it was to somebody else. You want me to confirm it, Jenny? You're asking me to confirm it? There was no chance of him going to prison justice, right? Yeah, that's right, Jenny. But were you asking me to like confirm it? So, Paul, I'm doing a live at 8 p.m. tonight. I just got bored and I came on, and some people were sitting here, so I just thought I'd talk. Okay, I'm going to throw something out there, and I know that Zach has been right through the coals on this, right, for what he said, and I'm going to say it from the other side, right? I have been angry with my partner for stupid things, idiotic things. I don't know. I can't even think of anything. I can't even think of something to see as form of domestic violence and must be recognised as such. Yeah, well, it's ridiculous. So, like Jenny was saying, I'm trying to think of a situation where he annoyed me. I can't think of one off the cuff off the top of my head. But I would give him daggers all evening. I would tell him to make his own effing dinner. Yeah, when he come in, I would say horrible things to him like, you know, would your last slave die of, or yeah, Haley. You know, and I don't know I how to explain it, but I mean, Haley's probably going to agree with me here because she knows me so well. But I bloody pushed him. I pushed him. I did. Right? I pushed him, and he gave me a backhander. That was, yeah, my husband gave me a backhander. Right? And I wasn't shocked when he did it. Right? And did I blame him for it? Not really. But when you're in a man-on-man relationship, to me, in my head, it was like, you've just put hands on me, so that's my excuse to do it back to you. Does that make sense, guys? And Paul will come up and tell you what it's like.
You're right, Stell.
Yeah, hi, Paul. What's it like with us guys?
Well, I'm going to just put what I class it as, right? To me, just arguments, yeah, verbal, that's not DV. To me, that's not. When it's an argument mutually on both sides, that's not DV. But I think the minute one person puts a hand on another, then yeah, I would say that's now DV. That's where I come from anyway. That's how I look at it.
But even if I asked for it?
Well, yeah, but what do you mean ask for it as in arguing and calling him names?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's DV still. Of course it is. Because you can walk away or you can argue back. The minute you hit someone physically, that's domestic violence. You know, any form of that is.
Hang on 2 seconds, right? I'm a survivor of DV on the reverse. No one, male or female, has anything. Gentleman said, even if you asked for it, that is not a scenario or a situation that belittles any form of domestic violence, whether it's male or male, or male female. That is not the right way to go about it.
100%, I agree with that.
Okay, so that belittles the whole point of domestic abuse and violence. So please clarify that. And an argument or a disagreement and an argument, okay, is not DV. It's when it becomes more or controlling and coercive behaviour.
Thank you. A sensible bloody person.
Right. So what you're shouting and spouting at that point, just now in your live is absolute rubbish. I'm being direct with you. That is absolute rubbish. And anybody that sees it in a relationship, whether you're an outsider or whatever, you do not know what is going through that person's mind at that point in time, whether they feel it's DV or not. You, in your own right, have no right to judge what you say is and is not domestic abuse.
What exactly are you talking about, Fraser?
I'm on about you.
I'm talking about myself. I was asked about me, what I think.
Your live started with your friend and how you feel that she was lying or whatever.
So you're talking about her, okay.
At that point, that is your opinion whether you think she's lying or not. She at that point, right? You truly don't know what's going on in somebody else's mind or head or the actual whole scenario. Nobody does unless you are in that situation.
I did actually. I know you quite a lot, Fraser.
No, you don't know how that process and how she is feeling or how that person is feeling.
I'm not going to invalidate bad behaviour. Do you understand, Fraser?
You just did. You just did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You turned around and said you asked for it.
Yeah.
She is a liar. It's as simple as that.
But so are
evidence.
You were in a live last night accusing somebody of being a liar about having. I'm not even going to say the word because I don't want to get you banned, right? And called her Mr. Drunk and that they were transgender. You made that assumption yourself.
Excuse me, let me tell you something, Fraser, right? That's got nothing to do with you, first of all. And secondly...
Why? You're on a public domain. You're on social media.
Freedom of speech. Freedom of speech, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Go away, Fraser. First of all, I'm entitled...
So much for his freedom of speech, Stell.
No, hold on. He can come back up when he listens because he's obviously... See, this is the type of thing I'm talking about, yeah? And I will call it this type of man, right? This type of man comes up here and claims, I've been the victim of DV from another person, right? And then he tries to put his emotions and his experiences and all his anger and pain onto me, which is narcissism, by the way, right? You have got no right to come up here and put that on me, Fraser, right?
No, I think you might be taking it the wrong way. I took it, I mean, he can correct me if I'm wrong now, right? But I took it as what he meant was by you, because he's a survivor of domestic violence, right? He took it that you saying, oh, I asked for it. What you're actually doing is you're taking away his experience as well. Well, anyone's experience who's been through DV, because you're making excuses for somebody hitting another person. You're saying, well, I asked for it. So did they ask for it then? That's where I think you went wrong, because no.
Oh, right. Because okay, well, I wasn't talking about that. I was answering what Jenny had asked me, right? And Jenny was asking about my situation. Yeah, what do I consider it as? Yeah, and I said when I was with my husband, I would do things.
Yeah.
Not always the right way or go about it the right way. I was angry with him, and so I would like make your own dinner, right, or something like that. You know, something stupid, right?
But that's not asking to be hit.
No, but what I meant was if he clowned me, I didn't count that as something that I didn't run to people saying it's DV. Oh, I've been DV'd.
No, but that was DV. If you said to him,
I don't feel that way.
Well, I'm just letting you know that in the eyes of the law, it is. If you said to him, make your own dinner, and then he walloped you one, that's DV. That is abuse. Pure and simple. There's no excuse. There's no, I don't care if you're in a man-man relationship or a woman and man or woman and woman. Yeah, that is abuse and it's DV.
Life, you can come up if you want. I don't mind you coming up. Right.
Now anyway, because I don't want to take over your life.
That's all right, Paul. You know I don't mind you being here. But Paul, I don't see it that way. That was my decision, right? My opinion is with my husband, I didn't see it that way. Now Fraser, I feel, was coming up to attack, right? Because I'm putting all his trauma onto me for whatever reason, right? He doesn't know the facts either. Fraser, and that's what I was going to say. You do not know the facts either, Fraser. I was with this woman quite a lot online, on phones, on video calls, all sorts of things. I knew her husband's movements, and I can tell you that leading up to this, a good, I'd say 8 weeks, he probably spent about 3 days in that house, to be honest with you. The man works away, yeah, most of the week, right? Most of the week, he works away, right? I've got to be careful what I do say, right? He goes out with the lads on special manly things, yeah? And he'd only just got back on the Friday night, I think it was. I could be wrong there, don't quote me on it, but it was a very short period of time. He just got back from a 2-week skiing holiday. So he wasn't in the house all this time that she's claiming that he did things. Fraser. She had asked me to say that he turned the electric off in the house on such and such a day. He wasn't in the house. If I had went to the court and said he did that, and he can prove that I'm lying because he wasn't in the country, that's me up shit creek without a paddle. But this is what this live's going to be about tonight, Fraser. Women who are encouraging people like me, or took my weakness for what's the saying? Weakness for no.
I don't understand though how this is connecting, because with Claire Bear, or Claire, whatever her name was, you were just friends. You was never in a relationship with her, was you?
No, we were just really close friends.
I
We
don't
told each
understand
other.
where that connection with then DV is coming from. I don't get the two, why they're connected. I don't understand that bit. Are we
Right.
talking about DV, or are we talking about a friendship that's broke up?
Well, we're talking about women who lie about DV, and I called her out about lying about the
How
DV.
do you, with all due respect, I'm not arguing with you, Stell, I'm just asking you questions as well. Right? How do you know what went on behind closed doors? That's the bit I don't get.
Right.
Nobody has the right to say somebody is lying about DV, because no one knows what goes on behind closed doors.
Right.
Unless you're in her house, how do you know?
I will answer that, and I just said to you, the 2 weeks previous to this incident, he was on a skiing holiday, yeah? So I was on the phone to her every single night for hours. We would actually have our WhatsApps running for hours, yeah? Me and her, right? I'd be tidying up, making dinner. She'd be doing the same thing. She'd be on TikTok. I'll be on TikTok. We were doing things like this. We'd be watching a live like this, and we'd be sitting there saying our opinion, what we thought was going on, you know? So our phones were always open. There was lots of calls between us, so I knew when he was in, when he wasn't in. When he came home, he never stopped her from speaking on the phone to me. You know, he just like, oh, hi, and also, and you know, she sent me pictures when he was, you know, on the works night out, and they were all dressed up as women. You know, and she sent me these pictures of him and things like that.
With all due respect, Stell, he's not going to send you a picture of him battering her, is he? He's not going to send you them kind of pictures. You're going to get nice pictures, of course you are.
Paul.
Nobody wants that to be out there, really.
Paul, he wasn't there. That's the point I'm making. He wasn't
Oh,
in
I
the house.
see. You're saying she's lying because he wasn't even
In the country. He
in
was
the
on a
country
skiing
at
trip.
the time.
Yeah.
But that's one occasion, though. How long were they together?
8 years, and she said he started beating on her in June last year. Well, that's funny, because isn't that when he bought you or rented you, whatever he'd done, right? However he did it, right? He got you that big house, right? And,
How do you know that weren't out of guilt?
oh, I can tell you. Well, come at 8 o'clock and I'll tell you.
Devil's advocate here. I don't know this woman. So.
Okay, come at 8 o'clock and I'm going to say about all that, yeah? I'm going
Yeah.
to, at 8 o'clock tonight, I'm going to release all of that, yeah? Right? He did tighten up the reins on money around about the same time, right? And I'll admit that he did that, but for a very good reason. Very good reason.
Yeah, because didn't you say I'm not going to go into details, but didn't you say last time she had some kind of habit?
Yes, she did, yeah. And
Allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly because I don't know.
well, she actually admitted it. She said, yes, I've been doing it. And he said, is that where all my money's gone? And he got angry of it. And he said, right, from now on, and to be honest with you, I think most people in this live would be like, what? How much? Yeah. She got a credit card for the house and the cars, only for the house and cars, and should only be used for the house and cars. He paid all the bills. He paid a cleaner to come to the house and clean because she wouldn't.
That I get what you're saying still,
Right.
but all of that doesn't mean he's not also possible of hitting her. People can do nice things, but I agree. I do like topics like this, right? I think it's good to have a healthy debate. So I'm glad you're doing stuff like this. But my only bit of advice, if you want it, would be when you do your live tonight, do it as a general discussion. I wouldn't put this as personal to Claire and that situation, because I think that's where it's uncomfortable, because whether you feel she's lied or she hasn't, that's her personal relationship she had, and I wouldn't want that over the app. So I would do it as a general debate. I wouldn't make it personal to do with Claire. But that's up to you. It's your live. You do what you want. I'm just saying, you know.
And can I just add to that before Paul rudely interrupted me?
Hello, Caitlin, love. What, just rudely interrupted you again then, love.
Yeah. She also was allowed a personal allowance, yeah, for herself of £2,000. That was her personal allowance. After the house was paid for, the bills were paid for, the shopping, the cars, everything was paid for. She had a personal allowance of £2,000 a month. How many of you on this live here either get full-time jobs, get £2,000 a month, or get benefits at £2,000 a month?
But
Right?
still, what's
How
that?
many of you on here get
What's that
anywhere
got
near
to do with
£2,000 a
DV
month?
though? I
What?
don't. What's that got to do with DV though? It's like you've got two subjects going on here.
Well, right. So some people are saying in the chat, yeah, well, because he was nice some of the time doesn't mean he's nice all the time, yeah. But then you've got the woman who has just manipulated me, right, and she's fed me loads of information, right, and then she comes to me one day and says, you know all that stuff I told you about him? Yeah, I told you about him. Can you make a statement saying that you witnessed it? Can you make a statement about the time he did this? And that was when she said that word, yeah, about the electric thing. That's when it clicked on me. That was the light
Well, you're
bulb.
saying she asked you to make a statement, which was a lie, to
Yeah.
say you witnessed something you didn't. Did you do that statement?
No, I did not.
Right. Well, there you go then.
And then she went on the rampage. That's when she started like all this bad behavior. And then I just went, and I did speak to her off the app, and I said, look, what you did today is not fair on me. You know the truth about that situation, and you should have stuck up for me as a friend. And it was almost like she was saying, yeah, well, you should have stuck up for me. This is what it was almost like, that, like the attitude back to me. So then a week later, she took that opportunity and done it again. And that's when I blew up that day. Paul, you were there.
Yeah, I was.
And I said, after you asking me to lie to the courts and the police and blah, blah, blah. And because I lost it then, because that was what was in my mind. That's what you meant the other day when you were sitting there like side-eyeing me, yeah? You were telling me like you were my friend when you wouldn't lie to the court for me. There's a big difference between asking somebody to tell the truth to TikTok about something and telling a lie in a court of law. There's a huge difference, people.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I could have went to jail for that if I lied.
I just think, though,
On TikTok, who cares?
my personal opinion would be, like, at the time you were both, I know it was wrong that she asked you to do that, and you didn't do it, so you done nothing wrong. But at that time, you were friends, and she trusted you. And so I just think, no matter what's happened since, I just don't think you should ever bring out your dirty laundry, because at the time it meant something. You both trusted each other.
Yeah.
Whether it was wrong or right,
Can I just say,
it's a personal thing for you.
Can I just say,
friends.
I have never and I will never project what happened to me onto anybody else. So if you feel like that, firstly, let me apologise for that, okay? Right? Secondly, this sounds more like it's a personal issue than rather it is a social media issue. And I think you both feel that you've been let down by each other in different ways. And that's how the impact. I don't feel that, there are people out there that will control the narrative in a DV relationship by throwing money at people, buying them gifts, and it will always appear that it's a happy, shiny thing on the outside. I know, as I said, I've had that experience, okay? So that to me is that you should look at this on a different level rather than having it all over there, mate. I totally think this is
But
something...
Fraser, did you hear what I said, yeah? The man wasn't there on one of the particular occasions.
Yes, I agree with you.
About.
I agree with that, and if that is the case, then you should always be truthful in that manner in a legal way, and you should never put it in any other way. Other people, children, people in that scenario, it can cause an impact and effect on their life. I get that.
And
I'm
the truth of it
that.
is, the man was so perfect, yeah, so perfect. I would have married him myself if I wasn't already.
No
married.
one, listen. No one's perfect.
Fraser, can I ask you a quick question? Sorry.
Yes, certainly can.
Just out of interest, your DV experience.
Yes.
Was that by a woman or?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. See, now that would be a bloody good topic to discuss, because I don't think there's enough recognition for men that are attacked physically by women.
I am going to cover that. That's what I'm going to cover today.
Yeah, I think that's a bloody good topic.
But Stell, please, all I'm going to say to you is, when you say that in the scenario that you deserved it, nobody deserves it at all, okay?
I just was putting out my personal opinion, right?
Yeah, I know, but and if in any future relationship that gets in and it happens to you, you don't deserve it. And listen, there's a difference between an argument and DV. An argument is a disagreement. When it becomes further than and it crosses a line and it becomes coercive, that's the issue. So please
Oh,
have that in
he
mind to
never
protect
quit me.
yourself.
I never suffered that for him, believe you me.
I'm
None
going
of
to
that.
drop down now, right? Stell, I'll
Right,
be in
yeah, I'm
contact.
going to pop down, but please, I
Oh,
wasn't.
you don't have to. Actually, Fraser, wait there a second. Yeah. Oh, if you want, Paul, just buds when you want to come
I'll
up
be in
again.
your yeah, I'll be in your comments.
Well, Fraser, it's interesting you say that, and I half agree with you in a way, right? I'm going to say something that I've learned now at 50. Well, actually, I was about 50 when I learned it, right? When I was with my second husband, I suddenly came to the realization that these two men were both the same, so I almost had a type, yeah.
Yeah.
And if I was bothered by that type of behavior, I shouldn't have went with them. When you're young, I was 19 when I got involved with the first one. Yeah, there was the presents, there was the things, and there was the backhanders as well, right? But I knew what type of man he was. I knew the reputation he had out there in the big bad world. Does that make sense to you, Fraser?
Yeah, I understand that.
And to me, at 50 years of age, I've learned now, guys, right? Now I've learned, if you don't want to get bit, don't have a Rottweiler. You know?
I kind of disagree with that scenario on that because
Yeah, I did life. I made one.
listen, you
Sorry, Fraser, I was just answering life. Yeah, go ahead, Fraser. I don't know what's happening. Life, do you want to come up? Fraser, we've lost you for a couple of minutes there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. With regards to having that type, listen, you could pick the biggest, baddest dog in the park and it can be the soppiest, most cuddliest thing in the world. You can get a chihuahua and it can rip your finger off. Right? Don't forget, like anything, people in a relationship, you could be with them 5 months, 5 years, 15 years, 20 years. Something can change and there's an unpredictability. That's how it is. It's really difficult. But I just like I said to you, what upset me more is and people that have been a survivor of DV. When somebody says that, it's not a trigger. It's the fact that I feel that I have to say something because it's not a normal thing, and nobody on this earth, right, deserves that. No form of violence at any point, being in any way, shape, or form, should be looked upon as, oh well, I done this. No, you still didn't deserve that.
Hey, did I request a box? God, sorry if I did.
Apparently so, Joe.
Oh, well, at least I can say hi. I didn't actually mean to request. I think I must have pressed it by accident. But seeing as I'm here, Stell, I've literally been in a similar situation to you recently. And I can't remember my point now, but I think we need to message, to be honest, because I don't really obviously want to go over it online because it's quite personal. But I'm going to message you anyway. But I've been in a similar situation right now. But anyway, I'll drop down because I accidentally joined. But love you all.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
I honestly
All right,
think,
bye.
I honestly think, still, this as it comes across. I appreciate it. Thank you, love. As it comes across, this feels more like you're angry over loss of a friendship and being asked to be put in a situation.
Well, I am angry at the loss of the friendship.
Okay.
I'm angry that she's thrown it away because she put me in a situation that I just was not able, capable, willing, or whatever way you want to put it, right, to be in that situation. If I thought for 1 minute, right, so let's back it up a little bit, right? If she hadn't asked me to lie about certain situations, yeah, and she said, would you say what you've heard or whatever, I would say yes. And I would tell the judge, yeah, he swore at her a couple of times in my presence. He shouted at her a couple of times in my presence, you know. And some people on the chat are saying that's not DV. I don't know how you feel about that.
Okay, so that all depends. That all
Right.
depends. Listen, people shouting. Like I said to you, an argument is a disagreement.
Yeah. So
it all depends on that argument and how it comes over. Because there are frustrations in relationships. Listen, no one is perfect. We're human beings. We are built and designed to have flaws. That's the way it is. And when you're with somebody, you accept those flaws, whatever they are. And if you're not happy at that point, you walk away.
Well, exactly.
Right. But when you are in a situation of DV, you feel that you have nowhere to go. You have no one to turn to. Your closest friends, you almost try and find any situation possible to get that person out of your life, because if you can, and it's all documented by all the charities, by everything, that people in those scenarios, if they do not get out at that point that they feel they can, they will stay there, and it ends up becoming, let's just say, a scenario where somebody may not be able to be on the earth. Okay?
I understand what you're saying, Fraser. I have seen that type of thing in the
It's
past.
so hard. Big hearts, I don't think it's hard. I don't think it's easy at all. I was in there for 15 years. 15 years. Okay? So
If you're on at 8 o'clock tonight, yeah, I'm going to make it. I'm going to actually be telling you a story that will probably chill your blood.
Can I just say? I just want to say one thing, and I want you to go. If anything, go away from this. Just thinking of this. If this was the reverse and it was you, okay, and I know this is me, I would not want my personal friendship scenarios or issues put on here. But if you feel it's the only way, then you have to deal with whatever comes at you, but you've got to deal with it in a manner. And I don't feel that it's, people jumping up, shouting. It's not a way to deal with anything, because it becomes worse, it becomes heated, and it becomes a whole scenario which nothing gets solved or resolved.
Right. Well, I don't feel I have any other way of doing it, because she has trashed my name on this app. And if you were listening, Fraser, you pulled me up for what I said to Rosie, right?
Yeah.
I did not hear you say once about Rosie's insinuations that I was a PDF. Yeah, not once have you said anything about that. You've been up quite about a time and you haven't said that was wrong for her to say that or insinuate that.
I'm not going to bring. Listen, I'm not going to bring a subject up to
I've
highlight that. Because I don't feel that's my. Listen, that's what.
Do you think that was right?
Well, it's nothing's right to bring up those scenarios online without any form of receipts or proof on anybody.
Hold on. Did you hear her insinuating that was a PDF?
I heard that you had an image of. I'm not going to go into that because that's not mine. Okay, there were comments that were said by many parties in that box.
Yeah.
Where it came from at that time, because there was a voice, a lot of people talking over each other, right?
Because Rosie called me a PDF.
Okay, right. But my point was, at that point, what frustrated me most is the fact that how you. I don't want to say it because it's not my thing to say. It's not fair for me to bring that up. I felt at that point, and I came up because of how you were speaking to a female.
But you pulled me up about Rosie, so I'm asking you, right? What do you feel about Rosie when the reason I said things?
I listen. I can't comment because I wasn't in the group chat with the image or whatever, so that's not my story to say. People call names on here in those scenarios.
Fraser, Rosie was not in that conversation.
Like I said to you, it's not right to call anybody a PDF or anything without any form of receipts, right? Or anything like that, because it can be very derogatory to somebody that's been a survivor of that scenario. So it's, you know, and it can damage anybody that's on here because it's on social media.
Right, and it's not the first time that the two of them have done that to me. It's not the first time.
Okay, so do you feel then coming live and having people up in a social place is going to improve that situation any further?
Well, they all had something to say last night about it, so I'm giving them the right to reply, which I like to do on my lives. You come up here and explain to me why you would, not you, Fraser, in particular, but anybody who was there last night, you come up and explain to me what right you had to call me a PDF with no receipts.
I think that I mean I did say to you and to everybody else on a WhatsApp there are settings where you don't save images, or you can save it automatically to your phone. People can change it, you can have it however you want. So if it's on your phone, that's down to WhatsApp settings, that's not down to the person. And that's one thing I will clarify. Okay. And however that image came in and where it was, that again, that is nothing to do with me. That's an irrelevance on that. And like I said to you, calling anyone a PDF without any receipts or anything like that is a wrong thing to do. I can't agree with that at all, because you know, you have no idea whether that person himself was affected by a scenario in that situation.
So, Fraser, I'm going to tell you now, yeah? So I have got female friends. One of them's a mod here.
Definitely.
And then there's Warrior. And they share pictures of their children with me because they're proud of their children's achievements. Or they're maybe going on holiday.
Then they are placing their trust into you to know that you are a decent human being. And that's down to them.
Stell reposts my stories and my petitions and my pictures of my son who was adopted out.
Listen, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
I get that, but you have to remember, it's not just, and this is where it comes from another scenario, is that by putting your children on social media, not Stell, by sharing.
I know.
Okay, so, and those images, as soon as they are out there, they are out there forever, and people will talk so freely and bring people's children into scenarios and situations.
Yeah, exactly.
Come back to you. So for me personally, I would never, my friends don't share with me, I don't share with them, I don't share social media. Whatever I put up with my child, which is very, very rare on my children, so I've got 4 of them, right?
But but it's all the care leavers and that, all the children that are suffering in care. And you're saying that all the children suffering in care aren't allowed to share their live experience of what was really going on in the care system.
Right. Hang on.
The pictures of them are obviously we're sharing for social services, stealing our children, raising awareness.
Warrior,
and I know what's happening. I know what
agree.
you mean.
I understand.
Warrior, listen, Warrior, I'm not having the social services discussion today, please. I understand
where you're coming from. I understand where you're coming from. I totally understand where you're coming from, Warrior. I've got, listen, for those awareness.
Thank you.
But you also have to understand, unless you're...
thanks, Observer, Paul.
Unless you are a parent, okay?
Right, so I'm going to go back to
that image, then there's a different story, isn't there?
Right, so...
I know about that, I've heard, I've been doing my research,
Warrior,
I know what you're getting at.
Warrior, wait a minute, Warrior. I'm going to, first of all, say Jenny was just saying you shouldn't share. Right, so Jenny, this picture that we're talking about in particular was not shared on social media at all, right? It was shared to me in a private WhatsApp message, first of all, yeah? And
not by me.
Don't worry, hold on. What I was saying to Fraser is I've got other friends in this live now, even, who share their proud achievement, their sons and daughters' proud achievements, and they want to share it with their friends that they trust.
That's what I'm saying. It's that trust, and until that trust is broken, and you've seen it, Stell, with all the hunters that are on here, and people that will go, oh my word, I went to school with that person.
Right.
Oh my goodness, he was.
But Fraser, let me land, please. Yeah.
Sorry.
Right. So you've agreed with that, yeah? It's okay to do that amongst your friends, yeah?
Oh yeah, that's what they want to do. Their trust is in.
But last night, Rosie, and only Rosie, was trying to insinuate that I'm a PDF because that picture, as you've just rightfully said, was automatically saved to my phone, right? Automatically saved to my phone, as is anybody else's pictures that are sending me, whether it's funny memes, funny stories, Facebook posts, they're all saved to the phone for me to look at later, right? And even if you delete them from your photo gallery, right, you can go back into the messages and they'll still be there.
Yeah, you can check in the media section. Yeah, I know. I'm fully aware of that. I know that. Listen. What people send over WhatsApp is what they have to understand is that that's down to them. And obviously, WhatsApp is totally encrypted. Nobody can see what is sent, and and the people that send those messages are sending it with full faith and trust that the people and the person that they're sending them to.
That's right. But my point to you, Fraser, was it okay for Rosie to say to me,
I've already stated that.
you're a PDF because you saved them?
Listen, it's not right in any way without receipts, right? That anybody should be labelled as anything like that. Listen, this app is almost normalising PDF, DV, SA, right, to a massive point because it's thrown around and mental health. It is thrown around like weapons and toys. Okay, they are not weapons and toys to be thrown around with. And that's.
I'm going to tell you something, right? I came on this app a couple of years ago. Well, I was on it. I've been on it for 4 or 5 years, right? But I've been on and off it, right? A couple of years ago, I came on and I said to people, the amount of people that are throwing around false accusations, yeah, the amount of resources that are put on these false accusations of people, right? Because they want to, I don't know, it's mostly women, we'll say, right? It's mostly women, right? Because that's my experience, my opinion, guys, right? And what I've seen, right? Women throwing accusations against men, and the police are spending so much time on it, yeah, that they don't have the time for the real victims. I've come on this time and I've said, do you know what? And I know somebody in particular is going to laugh in the comments in a second. I said to them a few months ago, you're using it like Smarties now. Yeah, you're throwing it out there so much that it's so diluted. Then a couple of years' time, nobody's going to be bothered if you call them that or you've done this or you've done that. Right? Nobody is going to be bothered, and therefore, real victims will not be heard. And this is all because.
I agree. Listen, I agree with that. All you've got to do is watch a certain female on this app who normalizes calling the police over things and may have 5 or 6 cases against other people because this has happened. Let's all just remember, people, this is a social media app. What happens on social media stays there. Same as after this live is finished. If Stell wants to take this and download it, he can keep it. Right, and he can repost it and send it out onto any platform that he wishes. Same as anything. That's why you have the FYP pages. That's why you have everything else. My point is, and this is how it stands. And like I said to you, Stell, I feel that like I said to you, this is you feel personally let down, and as I believe, Claire feels personally let down by those scenarios, whether they're right or wrong, and that's the whole situation. I just think before you do anything at 8 o'clock tonight, you come out with a scenario as though you were sitting on the fence. You cannot use your upset and your personal upset with that live, because all it's going to do is the same as it happened last night. Okay, that it's going to become a shouting match. And people will get, irate and angry, and that doesn't solve a single thing. At the end of the day, and I'll be honest with you, all I think you should do is say, I feel this, blah, blah, blah. She replies, blah, blah, blah. And then all you've got to do, right, is block them. Because if this wasn't social media and this was in real life, okay, right, and you had friends and you lived in the same place, you were close friends or whatever, you wouldn't continuously go round their house and bring 10, 20 people each and have a discussion like this, like last night, and what possibly could happen tonight at 8 o'clock.
Actually, Fraser, We date on WhatsApp.
But do you see what I'm saying? But that's what this is what the modern world has come to, because it does not solve a single thing at all.
So the thing is, right, if you had it all last night, you would have heard her saying, "Oh, I would have forgiven you still if you hadn't taken it off the app and phoned social services." And I went, "Hold on a second, yeah. Wait, let's back up a second, yeah. You took it off the app when you called my personal friends, yeah. Angie, do you want to come up at any point in time, by the way? Right, when you called my personal friends and you threatened them. She threatened my personal friends off the app. That's what she did.
I believe that you also retaliated to her friends as well.
No.
So you didn't retaliate to Abby?
No, I didn't. And
so
Angie
what was the
and John and Angie in the chat there, they will testify to that. We've left them alone. We've been nowhere near them because we've actually been busy. Yeah. I don't want to give the game away just yet, but we've been busy on another project. That our time has been so consumed by this other project, we've not give her a second thought.
So why now, Stell? Why now?
Right. So I was spinning around the lives last night, and I bumped into Rosie. This is what happened. I've got it, by the way, downloaded because I recorded most of it. It was still actually recording off the computer, right? I arranged to be Red. Me and Red were left. I done a live last night about chemical castration and what people's thoughts were on it. Right, it was a good live. People came in. Some people said things. Right, blah blah blah. Right. Live settled down about 8 o'clock or something, 9 o'clock, whatever it was. And I said, let's spin around and we'll find another person, another creator, and we'll go in there live. And Red said, yes, that's right. Yeah, let's do that. Right. And we went into she went into the other creators live, and I was just spinning on my live FYPs, and I came across Rosie. And she saw me coming into the box, obviously, you know what it says at the bottom, you've joined, right? And she said, oh, hi, Stell, not heard from you for a long time. So I just typed in, I've been busy, how are you? I don't know, the usual pleasantries were. We got talking on the box, and then she took me to the toilet, which was a private thing, but nevertheless, she did it. It don't bother me, by the way. I'll just put that there. I can shut my ears. I'm not that. What's the word? I'm not that bothered, but by that.
Yeah, I know.
But after she used the bathroom and washed her hands, and the phone obviously was sitting on the side and everything, she picked up and she went, "Oh, I'll be back in a minute." And I thought, that's really weird, because I would have thought you'd have said that before you went to the toilet, not after. But then I had a spine chilling thing, and I thought, I've got a bad feeling about this. So I then phoned Red, and I said, Red, find me on TikTok and come in quick. Come and find me, right? And she said, yeah, I'll be there, right? So I put the phone down, and I come back to TikTok, and there was Rosie. Oh, there you are. I said, oh, hi, what's happening? You all right? And she said, yeah. I just want to tell you, I've got Claire here. And I went, oh, okay. So it was obviously set up, Fraser. It was set up from the start, right?
I can't comment. Yeah.
Well, I've got the recording, and Claire's went, yeah, I'm here. And then I noticed at the bottom of the screen, her alleged partner has come in. Chris, whatever his name is, right? Came in. And then he jumps into a box, and I said, what the hell do you want? I don't even know you. Don't speak my name. Get your name out, my name out your mouth, Chris. Bog off. This has got nothing to do with you. This argument started well before you were even in the picture, right? We didn't even know you existed. So go away. You've got nothing to add to this. Well, she's my girlfriend. I said, oh, well, listen, I'm not even listening to that rubbish, right? You've not even met. You live about 5,000 miles away from each other. A load of rubbish, oh, we're in love. Oh, I get everything she needs. Oh, really? Right? She's going to go from a wealthy, well-to-do dentist to a motor mechanic in some backwater street of the USA. Please, some redneck country.
Listen, everybody's different.
Yeah, I know, but hey, I know that
everyone's different. Whatever. Listen, whatever, mate. Listen, like I said, social media brings people together, pulls them apart, does all sorts. So whatever that person feels happy and in there, and and if at any point, the same as if I was there, my partner now, she would come up and defend me, even if I was in the wrong, and then afterwards she'd say to me, "Do you know what? You were in the wrong," and I'll go and apologise to that person, because if it takes a bigger person to apologise and walk away than it does to have that situation.
Well, it wasn't that type of situation, that Fraser. He came up to attack.
Yeah.
Definitely, right? But he dropped, right? And the conversation rolled for about an hour. Me, Rosie, and Han. She was getting Elisa up, getting all these people to come up and attack me, and people from the chat to attack me and call me names and things like that. And I said, so because I'm calling out somebody for bad behaviour, that makes me an abuser. Do you realise that I don't even know this person? And you're sitting there calling me up, knowing the facts. Anyway, I went away to do my own live, and then I was invited into Jakey's live, where Jakey was going to try and keep control of the situation, and I think that's where you came in, wasn't it? At Jakey's live.
It was Rosie's.
Was it Rosie's?
It was.
Did you come
in? I didn't. I didn't. I didn't come in, because at the end of it, it's that scenario. I felt it was. I felt it became such a playground situation where everybody felt that they had to jump in, and realistically, the only two people that need to talk is you and Claire.
Well, that's right, but she thought that she would have a little gang beside her.
But you're going to get that because it's social media. Because that's what I'm saying to you. Same as, like, you'll have your friends come up and then their friends, and it's almost in a scenario where you're not going to get to the bottom of anything. It's going to be an argument, a slagging match, and a shouting match, because that's what people see it as, mate. Because
and hopefully,
they have to defend it.
And hopefully this is what my live tonight is going to be about. Why are women in the chat who do not know the facts picking on one person because they're a different gender? Because that's what was happening. There's no doubt about it. They were abusing me in the comments, because I was a man calling out a woman. Because there was hardly any men making bad comments in the.
I feel that. Be straight or a gay man when the scenario, and I think this is another thing people forget as well, is that a man having an argument with a woman has a deeper voice, and I think people feel that then becomes more of an issue. It's when someone belittles or is derogatory to someone, that's where I have an issue, and that was my point at the time. But I think, like I said to you, again, you're doing it on social media app, and listen, opinions are like a-holes. Everybody has them.
And I'm going to be calling out these girls that were on there last night, women and girls, and are perfectly happy for them to come up and explain to me why they think it's okay to pick on somebody because of their gender. Because that's what they did.
I think it's. I don't say it so much as a gender.
Well, they did. Why did you not? Why did you not listen to what I said?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm saying what I'm saying. On my opinion, I felt it was a case of that you feel that how she let you down on the things that she asked you to do, and also then she felt let down in that scenario. I don't feel it was directly in that gender way. I mean, God blimey, look at the amount of people on here that will directly go at a female because they're sitting there with a low cut top on, or and then they go, oh, but look at the men, they've got their shirts off. Yeah, man, men on here, you're standing with your shirts off and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That there was almost that level of of what's the word I'm looking for here?
Last year, I'll tell you something about that. Actually, last year I'd done a little campaign against TikTok, for that very reason, because women who had say like a vest type top on, were being banned for nudity, right? While men were allowed to lie on their beds or their chair or whatever they were, right, with no top on. And I thought that was absolutely ridiculous that in this day and age that is.
Yeah, I'll tell you. My friend got a band. She was sitting next to a pool, had a knitted cover up on, right, with a bikini, and she got banned. Yeah, the next one you scroll on the page that's live is sitting there with his 10-pack, riding on a speedboat. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna throw. It's not controversial here, and it goes with, I suppose, it's sometimes in a stereotypical way. If you look at those people that are arrested for being a PDF, I'd say 80% of them are women, and it's the same way that.
I beg your pardon. I've got the stats on that if you want it.
Okay. Well, what's the stats?
13.8% of women are arrested for PDF offences.
So I said
8.8%.
But you're right. So, and what's the percentage of men?
Well, obviously the opposite, isn't it? So it'll be like.
So that's what I'm saying. The higher percentage is men, and it's just, and it's almost, and it is the same in DV. The percentage of people that are survivors are women to men, and that's a lot of men that have been in that scenario and situation, which is why I'm doing a thing with Andy's Man's Club for people that are affected to do MF, for mental health, because it's so difficult to talk about a scenario as a bloke in any way, shape or form, but with a DV, it's harder. So those stats, as you quite rightly said, it is thrown around, and you are right. It's far too easy to throw it out. It's far too easy to throw it out because, and me and Stell has said this, and we both agreed on it, that it's almost you're watering it down, and like he said, you're throwing it away like Smarties. You're using it like Smarties, and I agree with that analogy 100%.
Diluting it, yeah,
they're diluting. You know what I mean? Do you know? And I agree with you, Ange. I do agree with that. But you know, you have to, like I said, Stell. Please, when you do this, as I said to you, and I'm sure other people would say the same, is that this feels more a personal thing.
Yeah, Fraser, before if you're going to, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Let me throw it here. Yeah. What about Rosie's racist comments last night about me?
I don't recall hearing that.
Well, there was.
Yeah. If there was, I don't recall. I don't recall hearing that. So I can't. Again, I can't comment on something that I didn't hear, and I apologise for not hearing. I didn't hear those directly. Sorry.
So she called me racist words, and she called me a PDF, and you pulled me up because I told her that she used to be a man.
Yes, and
that sounds fair.
And that was not, and that's not true.
How do you know?
Because I do.
Right. Do you know that Rosie was actually raised as a boy by her parents? Do you know that?
But that choice of the parents, that's how they see it. She has no choice how she is raised. She has no choice at that time. Listen, every even before you become a male in the womb, you're a female anyway. You start with female.
Right. I agree with that.
Right. Okay. So, and at that point, whether you're born with both organs, okay, at that point, it's down to the parent to choose. And you know, that's possibly the hardest thing for a person in that situation, because they're more trapped than I think majority of people will understand. So that has nothing. Rosie has no control over that. But as she is, and as she is now, and how she was when she was born, and at that point, as she stated, is a female.
So why has she got so many male features then?
Listen, I've got a friend. Listen, I have a friend who is a straight man, but yet has the most female eyebrows, the most female looking scenario. But then I have women friends that have very masculine features and broad shoulders, but are not that are straight. So it's one of it. You can't go down that route. That's, you know, you're almost trying to label that, but it doesn't matter whether she has masculine or female features in the beginning. How she feels as a person and how she feels as herself is a female, and that's rightly so. And she had no control as her parents.
But she doesn't have to expect me to. I'm sorry.
No, you can't. But you can't genderify someone because that's how you see it. You can't do that.
She can't expect me to live in her delusion.
But it's not a delusion.
If she's got male parts, male features, and a female part, yeah, which is what she claims, yeah, and she was raised as a boy by her parents, and then she's decided to go the other way, which I fully, well, that's what she wants to do, fine, fair enough, yeah, but don't come at me afterwards, yeah, when I pull you up for that, after you've called me a PDF and a racist
No,
word,
you can't. You
right?
listen. You can't.
If she's allowed
That's
to,
two
wait, no,
separate
Fraser, wait, if she's
things.
allowed to use my appearance against me, yeah, why can't I use mine against her?
No, you can't. No. Listen, you want to be that you're treading on a ground, right? That is very, very, very thin ice.
So was
That
she.
will, you could end up actually being taken to the police for. So please be
Well,
very,
I
very.
can't because the courts have already they've already said. Don't forget, Rosie's birth certificate says she's male.
Yeah, but that's down to her parents yet again. That's her parents' choice. She had no control over that. She had no control of that.
I don't
My
have any.
great man.
Hold on a second. I don't have any control over my colour.
No, nobody does.
Well then, so why is she allowed to?
But
Why are
you don't
you?
like. Yeah, but you
Why are
don't.
you? No, Fraser. Why are you justifying her racist comments to me yesterday?
It's not. I'm not. Listen. I'm not justifying racist comments. I'm saying to you what you're saying. That is not the right thing to do. And if anyone listen to you, and I'll say this now, if anybody that knows you, right, you need to think carefully. If this man can sit there and say this about a woman, right, whether she was, whether at that point she was born with, she was obviously categorically she was born with both male and female and had no choice what was put on that birth certificate or how she was raised, and you have an issue with that, your friend, they need to think clearly, because that is the wrong thing to say and do.
So let me reverse it. Why are you sitting with a woman, yeah, a woman who picks on a man because of their colour?
No, I came in. Listen, I came into that chat because the way you spoke to her.
No, don't try.
Go
And,
and look at it. Go and watch
I
your
asked
video.
you a direct question.
Go and watch your
How can
video.
you
Go and watch
sit-
your video. I came in because the way you were speaking to that
No,
woman.
no, I don't care about that, right? I'm asking you, why do you sit with a woman, yeah, who spoke to a man in such a disrespectful way about his colour?
Like I said to you, I didn't hear her say that. I wasn't in that at that point. I cannot comment on something I did not hear or do not know.
Yeah, well, there you go. And I'm telling you, that's what she did. And I gave it back. Yeah, I gave it back to her.
So you can. So just to clarify, I don't know what your origin is. What's your origin?
I'm mixed race.
So what does it say on your birth certificate?
I don't think it gives a race on a birth certificate.
Okay, right. So if it did, right,
It would say I'm mixed race.
what would they would put that down? So what would you more identify as? If you're mixed race, what would be your more identified origin of your family, from your mother or your father?
From my mother,
And your mother was
Middle Eastern.
Middle Eastern. So you would identify as that.
Yeah.
Okay, and so if somebody in reverse then came on live and started bringing as a racist, saying you had no choice or option and you wanted to choose it like that.
No, what she said was,
do you agree with that? Do you agree with that?
What she said was, I was too white to be Middle Eastern. That's what she was saying. I'm a white person, yeah, when I'm actually white passing, which I don't like that phrase, right? I hate it, right? Absolutely hate it.
Okay.
But she was making comments that I'm a white person, and she was like,
you have no control over
my heritage.
You have no control, same as she had no control.
Exactly. Well, that's what I just said to you.
Right.
I had no control over my colour.
But you can't, as she feels, as she's got older and where she is, how she feels and down there, and I get where you're coming from and understand with that racist, but you listen, two wrongs don't make a right, okay?
So I was just telling you that I responded.
Honestly,
and in the same way she brought up my colour, I brought up her personal problem.
it's not a personal problem, is it? It's not a problem.
Well, she didn't seem to complain about it.
Oh, Stell. Do you know, I thought we was actually having on a quite an even level, but
Fraser, we can only be level when you admit to the fact she had no right to bring my colour into it.
like I said to you, I did not hear that, and as I said to you before, no form of any form of racism, sexism, homophobia, anything is acceptable in this world.
Right? She had no right to accuse me of that.
But like I said to you, right,
PDF.
at that level, you are on social media. On those levels, you are putting yourself out there. What you portray and what everybody else does, there is a level where it will come back and make an issue, right? But when you're discussing, on my opinion, when you are discussing something like that, when she has both male and female and had no control how she was raised or what was put on that birth certificate, and where she is now, whatever makes that person happy, they have a right to the happiness, and without being in that scenario.
And so do I. I have a right to have my, my race acknowledged.
I never said you did, but I just feel that's a big attack on people that may be intersexual in a larger view that people would view that as.
Fraser, what's your gripe?
Sorry,
What's your gripe? What's your main issue?
the main issue was
Yeah.
you in here. Was you in here about 45 minutes ago?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, he's been with
So
all
you heard the what we were discussing, and how he's then moved it from is the fact that he turned around and said that he deserved to be hit by his partner.
He's heard me say it before.
You know what I mean? That was my issue. My point was nobody, any victim or survivor of DV, right, deserves to be abused physically, mentally, in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. So Stella, why did you say that?
JK, it's like when you annoy me and I drop the dumbbell on your bloody toe and say, "Take it yourself" or some shit like that, and you give me a clap.
So you're being emotionally responsive? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So Fraser, do you understand that people can respond with emotion sometimes?
Oh, listen, I'd say you look at any form of relationship or friendship, and when they were discussing an argument, and I agree that DV is not an argument and it's a disagreement, right? Okay.
Yeah.
That we all act with our emotions in any way, shape, or form. Emotions are part of our genetics as we are as people. But at the same point, that doesn't allow a normalization of saying, I done this, so I pushed it, and then I deserved it back. No one deserves that. There shouldn't be any form of physical violence in any way, shape, or form.
So do you think, Fraser, that if you experience violence towards you,
Which I have from my ex-partner, yeah.
Okay, so you don't think that it's okay to have a reciprocal reaction to that?
I most certainly would not raise my hand to anybody in that way.
Okay, but does that not underpin equality?
Oh, please. If you're going to go on the equality route, don't go down there. That is not equality at all.
Well, equality is treating others as they treat you, which aligns with
that
fairness
is
and mutual
not.
respect, Fraser.
That
That's
is
how equality is defined.
Jakey, please, unless you have been in that
You're
scenario,
bringing
you will not
emotions.
class that as equality. Please, don't
You're
come
bringing,
up here
you're bringing
saying
emotions
it's equality.
into it, Fraser.
Please
Fraser,
do
you're
not
bringing
say
your
it's
emotions
equality.
into it.
Do
You're
not
bringing your
say it's
emotions
equality.
into it, Fraser.
No,
your
it's
emotions.
not. No, it's not.
You're being emotional.
You're trying to say it's okay
So, Fraser, do you
because you
understand
got
what
hit with
equality is, Fraser?
emotion. Oh,
Fraser, do you
please.
understand what equality is?
Go away.
Do you understand what equality is,
Equality
Fraser?
is allowing a male or a female or any form of gender to have an equal right, pay and say in any form of scenario or situation. It does
Okay.
not mean that a man
so would
can hit
you-
a man or a
Fraser,
woman can hit a woman in a
Fraser,
relationship.
so would you extend equality to mean treating others as they treat you, and to align with fairness and mutual respect? Would
I
you
would
include that?
You're saying it's okay to hit someone, yeah?
If you don't put things into my mouth, Fraser, I can produce
Well, no,
things out
you're
of my
saying
mouth
if it's all
myself.
quality.
So if you just
what
pay
you're
attention to what I'm saying,
what you're saying,
yeah, if you
it's
just pay
okay.
attention to my words,
It's
Fraser.
okay. You're
Fraser.
saying it's okay.
Fraser, you're not paying attention to my
retaliate
words.
with the
Fraser,
same energy that you
you're
are
not-
being given. Is that what
You're
you're
not paying
saying?
attention to my words, Fraser, are you? There is no excuse. There is no defence, right? If you want to exhibit self-defence, right? Self-defense can be used by both male and female
A self-defense,
counterparts.
self-defense is in a
Yes.
situation, right, where you fear at that point for your life and those and that life and yours and those around you. Yeah.
Not necessarily. It can be your safety as well.
Well, yeah, because you're fearing for your life in that point and scenario.
No, you don't have to feel for your life. Someone might poke your eye out with a pencil. They're not going to kill you. You know what I mean?
In that scenario, you don't
be
know how it's going to
specific.
develop. But okay, yeah.
You've got to be specific. Yeah. So basically, in the area of self-defense, it's quite legitimate to defend yourself. You know, if people are being violent to yourself, or if people are verbally attacking you, you can reciprocate your verbal attack with you know, with responding but in a balanced way, right? So warm for warm and distant for distant, for example.
So what you're saying is that if you, well, no, because if you're going to hit your partner, then why you're the perpetrator of DV, then that person is defending himself.
That's correct.
Right. So then you're saying then that's okay.
So am I saying that it's okay to defend
So
yourself?
what you're then
Absolutely,
saying is in that scenario that Stell said that he pushed his husband at the time, right? Pushed.
Yeah.
So Stell is then the perpetrator of DV.
No, what Stell was doing, he was provoking the situation.
Yeah.
Well, he physically assaulted him then.
He was a provocateur.
No,
So he physically assaulted him then.
no, I didn't physically assault him.
You pushed him.
No, I pushed him as in I provoked him. I pushed him into being angry.
Oh right, so he then hit you first.
Yeah.
Oh right, so then he's the purpose. So what you're saying is that he couldn't control, or he couldn't control his emotions. You couldn't control your emotions. So he felt at that point the only way he would to deal with it is to hit someone.
Yeah.
And that's right.
I said, in my opinion, I don't have a problem with that.
Well, the thing is, Fraser, is that if you're going to escalate a situation, you've got to understand that escalation doesn't come without consequence, right?
Oh my word.
Does that not make sense to you?
Oh my word! Listen. You go. Have you ever been? Well, I'm going to challenge you. You go.
Yeah, I'd like
you
that.
go.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Andy's Man Club's mental health group? Have you ever been to one of them?
My friend runs one. Yeah.
Oh, he does. Where do they run it? I'll happily come along as well because I go to two.
Where do they run it? They run it at the local centre just in town.
Okay, whereabouts is that?
Well, I'm not going to give that out on TikTok.
Oh, well, message me and I'll come along and I'll come with you and I'll sit there and talk with you and you can listen to the.
I don't need to be in Mandy's Andy's man club to understand what provocation means.
You
understand what self-defense
you got to understand. You got to
understand what aggressive attempts means.
You got to understand the survivor side of it. Do you think that's okay?
You've got to understand both sides.
Nobody asks to be hit. Nobody. If you are in a relationship that you feel that that it gets from an argument or disagreement, and you are purposely provoking somebody, and those scenarios you're doing that out of malice for that person. There is no need to provoke it.
So if you're provoking, is it your fault if you get attacked afterwards?
Nobody should ever be physically attacked.
But if you're provoking it, then do you not understand that there's a line in the sand?
If that was the case, deviating everything else. Listen, I'm not going to sit up here and have a conversation with somebody that wants to try and make.
You're not intelligent enough, Fraser. You're not intelligent enough to have a conversation.
Fraser, let me
do not, Jakey, underestimate anybody's intelligence. You have no idea
Fraser,
what you're talking about.
You've portrayed it today, and that's enough for me to see.
Have a blessed evening.
Fraser.
Wealth and happiness. No, Stella.
Fraser.
This guy is chatting.
Fraser, listen to me.
Go away, you are
Fraser.
a man.
Fraser, listen to me. Oh,
he's defeated still.
Yeah, he's defeated. I was going to ask him a question actually, which I think is quite relevant. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Andrew, you should have come up and told him that, but yeah, okay, right. I wish he'd come back up because I was just going to say to him, let's give him a scenario, right? So, I'm a bit like, drunkish, right? And I take your car keys, Jakey, right? And I say, I'm going out to the shop. And you say, no, you've had too much. And I say, no, I know what I'm doing, blah, 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 and you
Yeah,
come
yeah,
after me to get the keys off me, yeah, and we have a bit of a tough and rumble, and you're not winning, right? This is going on and on, right?
yeah,
And this is my thing, yeah. This is my view on it, right? My opinion.
yeah, sure.
If
Yeah,
you were then to give me a slap, yeah, and
yeah,
that shocked me, and you took the keys and said thanks very much and walked away, I
yeah.
don't class that as DV. You know,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, people's definitions of DV are all different, right? Some would say that if ever it escalates to physicality, then it's DV. Obviously, there are mitigating circumstances within that. You know, if you were being attacked, if it's self defence, if it's to prevent further harm, for
exactly.
example. So they're all mitigating circumstances for physical action to be taken.
But what Fraser's saying is, even in that scenario, because we're partners, it's DV. That's not DV. That's you preventing harm to another human being, to me and another human being, right? So sometimes you have to be a bit more physical.
Yeah, of course. I mean, some would say that you have to. So instead of sort of outwardly attacking someone, right? You've got to kind of restrain. So some would say that it's better to restrain someone, or it's better to sort of to do it that way rather than actively reach out.
No, JK, I'm not giving you any ideas, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we keep our bedroom antics to the bedroom, please. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, yeah.
Don't be bringing them out on the street when I take your van for a spin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think there's lots of mitigating circumstances for violence. You know, like I mentioned, there's self-defense. There's in defense of others. If someone's provoked, so if it's a sudden, intense emotional reaction. So catching a partner cheating, for example, would be a mitigating circumstance for violence. Mental state. So if you've got temporary insanity, right, extreme stress, emotional distress could be a mitigating circumstance for violence. All these things do not equal DV.
Can I
And
just point out here, right? If you catch your partner cheating, that relationship is ended there and then, so you're no longer partners anymore.
well, yeah, exactly. Reasonable, innocent belief.
So if you got them smacking, then hey,
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, like in an ideal world, violence would never be seen. But like we live in the real world, and people understand that you can push people to a limit, and beyond that limit, violence will appear. And we can sit here chewing the fat, talking nonsense as if everything's perfect, but it's not, and that's the reality.
and that's what I said to Fraser is, yeah, my husband, I would provoke him, not necessarily for him to use violence, but just to
Hello,
annoy him.
Haley. You all right, love? Yeah, I mean, Fraser came up and he's very limited on his view of violence. Like his view of violence is just is one track, and he does need to expand his horizons. And if he thinks I need to sit in an Andy's man club to understand what violence is sorely mistaken. I'm afraid.
That's the word I was looking for earlier. Thanks, Haley. You could have fucking typed that in earlier, right? Reactive. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
of
not
course. Yeah,
DV, that's reactive. That's RA.
yeah, it is. Of course, it is. Yeah, yeah. But I think you should change your live background, Stella, to when is violence okay?
No, that's tomorrow night. I really want to push this. I want to know why. Oh, did you, Haley? I didn't see it. Oh, I'm sorry. You should have, like. Oh, Karen L. James has just joined. Oh, what do you want, Karen? I got you. Don't worry
Anxiety.
about it. I got you, Karen. I got you. Come up, Karen, if you want. So my dear friend Maud that's in the chat, yeah. Go and let everybody know that Karen L. James has just come into my live, please.
I don't know who that is.
I'm talking in code. They know who it is.
All right. Okay.
Not bad for
Right.
some. Karen, I thought you had blocked me. I don't know why you're in here. I thought I was blocked. I'm calling out bad behaviour, Karen, women's bad behaviour, and I want to know why other women, other good women, don't call it bad behaviour when they see women perpetrators. Why do they never say to women, that's wrong for you to do that or say that. In fact, Karen actually might give some input into this subject because I know that she had a personal. Karen, come up. Karen, come up. Be a good idea.
Anxiety works both ways, men and women. Yeah, but yeah, like this idea that like violence is like always in every single scenario inherently like domestic violence, right? Is just absolutely ludicrous.
No, Karen, I'm not going to talk about the other problems that we've got right now. Yeah, I just want you to come up about this bad behaviour of women because you noticed it once. So it'd be a good idea for you to come up and explain that. See if you can do it better than me. I don't want to talk about other issues. Just so I'll tell you what happened. Right. So a lady went into Karen's and was
Yeah.
talking nonsense, basically, right? And she was saying things like, "Well, I've got a non-mole against my partner," which she didn't have at that point. Yeah. And I'm not quite sure of how it came about, but so why can't he come to the house and pick up the kids? And one of Karen's friends said, "What? So when he pisses you off, you can run to the police and say that he's breaking his non-mole."
Ah, yeah, okay.
And it went around them lines. So Karen picked up very quickly that this particular person was a bit of a narcissist, a manipulator, and a liar. And then Karen and her friends did something. I don't believe I'm talking about this. They held a kangaroo court, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, happened, and we're sorry for that, but it is what it is. Yeah, Karen. Yeah, they held a kangaroo court, right? And Karen, were you the man's defense? I think you were, weren't you? And the other woman, Karen's friend, was acting as this woman, and she said, "Oh, he hit me when 6 months ago," which was that bit was true, right? Oh, okay. And blah 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 blah. And then Karen said, well, "I rest my case, Your Honour, because I think she deserved it."
Oh, did she?
She did.
Mm.
She did.
I mean, sometimes people do deserve it. You know, it does happen. I mean, it's just a fact of life. But I mean, obviously, in this day and age, you know, anyone who's realistic, you know, gets shot down.
It's not funny, Justice, but I can laugh about it now, right? Knowing that. See, at the time, Karen didn't know any of the circumstances, and so she was going off the fact of a real domestic violence victim, right?
Oh yeah.
And Karen shouldn't have done that, and she was sorry. She said she's sorry for that, yeah, right? Because she didn't know the circumstances. But now we all know that it was a big lie, a big elaborate manipulative lie, yeah,
Big
and
fat
it's
lie.
all unfolded, right?
Yeah.
That's the only reason I'm laughing about it, Justice.
Ah, okay. Anxiety.
Yeah,
I
there
can't
you go.
believe
She said it as an off the cuff comment, and she apologised.
I can't believe Fraser was such a wet lettuce.
Nor can I. I don't ever want to know about one of these Andy Man clubs if that's what they turn them into.
Oh my god, they literally turned into like women with like male genitalia.
Oh, for God's sake!
Literally got like no backbone whatsoever. Like no one would advocate for like any abuse towards anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're
So,
not, we're not, we're not,
Karen, I'm going to say, Karen, come up a minute because I want to ask you if you knew that one of your friends was lying about a DV. If you knew for a fact they were lying about their husband doing things to them, you know, abusing them, would you pull that person? No, it's a simple question. Would you pull that woman up for it? Would you tell that woman she's wrong for what she's doing? Or would you let her carry on?
carry on, Karen.
Yeah, carry on, Karen. Yeah. It's interesting because Karen is a bit real and down to earth.
Is she?
Yeah. Yes, Maz, and that's what. But believe it or not, a load of women were in here last night screaming and shouting at me and saying that I was wrong, and you know what? So I should have lied to the police. You know. Well, Karen, you do know some of the story. It's involving that person. So you know some of the story, and it all unfolded that her partner, her male partner, didn't actually touch her. He
I
didn't
mean,
do. He
it
didn't
is
do anything.
difficult to know, Stell, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
difficult to know. You know what I mean?
I saw you,
Because
Bertie. Yeah. So, and she was asking me, as Karen's been on the receiving end of this person, by the way, quite a few times.
oh yeah,
She was asking me to make a statement in court and lie and say that I had witnessed him being abusive to her, or
I
physically.
see.
And when I refused, she went hell for leather on me.
She were right happy.
I mean, for God's sake, do you know what we? Oh my! Do you know the laugh? Right, when Karen held this kangaroo court, right, she ran off, crying her eyes out, bawling. She was, "How could you do that to a woman?" Right, and we've watched the video several times, right? Hello, we've watched the video several times, and each time we see that video, we notice more and more. And about 2 weeks ago, I was sitting watching it, and I said, literally within 43 seconds of her going away crying, she was back in the live. She was supposed to be so upset and bawling her eyes out and couldn't see for the tears and couldn't hear for the you know, the screams, and she was so distraught, and the blood pressure must have been so high. 43 seconds it took her to come back into Karen's live and then start abusing them in the comments.
Oh, bad behaviour, Stella.
Bad behaviour, yeah. That's a brilliant recovery. Absolutely.
Quite sad that a lot of these people who exhibit this bad behaviour, yeah, are responsible for bringing kids up.
I know.
And like, when you've got to think, how are the kids going to turn out?
4 of them by 4 different fathers. In fact, it was Karen who Karen said to her directly to her face, right? She said, how do you know it's going to end up in court, right? And she said, well, because all the rest of them have ended up in court.
Oh wow!
But you just walked into that one. Why the hell did you just say that? You know?
That's got to be alarm bells, hasn't it?
Yeah. Durham, Karen has actually apologised profusely about her part in the kangaroo court. She just done it here in the comments. I asked her to come up, but she said no.
What was the purpose of the kangaroo court?
To try and expose what an idiot she is. How are you going to say to the court, I'm so scared of this man, I'm so afraid of what he's going to do, right? I need a court order to keep him away from me. But then you turn around and say, but you can come to the house on a Wednesday to pick up your son at lunchtime. So if he was going to do anything, he would do it then and there, wouldn't he? If he was that way. So you can't be scared of a man if you're then inviting him to your house, right? To pick up your son.
Yeah, that's inconsistent, yeah.
Right. And I don't know if Karen knew about this, right? But her mum lives just about half a mile down the road. So if there was any problems with the arrangements, she could have just put her son at her mum's house and went home, and he could have picked up the son from... That's true, Haley. Anyway, he could have picked up the son from the mother's house. And the mother had offered that, by the way. The mother had offered that. But Haley's got a very good point there. She wouldn't let an abuser near the child. That's...
Yeah, well, that'd make more sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yes, Maz. That's what she said to Karen. She asked Karen, what's the legality thing, right?
Yeah.
What's the legal thing? I thought I blocked you. I don't know who this person is. Come on a different account. She came and asked Karen for legal advice on the legality of having a court order against her abuser, but he can come to the house to pick up his kid. That's what contact centres are for.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, does it? If you were that scared, you wouldn't have that, would you?
Exactly, and this is what I've been trying to tell these people, right? This wasn't real. It can't be real because you would not allow somebody to your house if you're that scared of them.
Yeah, but the thing is, Stella, people don't examine stories for consistency. That's the problem. You know what I mean? They listen to what people say, and then they say lots of different things, and you've got to examine that then to see if it becomes consistent. Because if it's not consistent, that's where it becomes obvious that there's some lies being told somewhere.
Exactly.
But you know, a lot of people are not that analytical to work that out. Anxiety. So yeah, but I think it's good. I mean, the live is lively. Don't you know?
Right.
Jonesy.
Listen, there's going to have to be, right, like, no, I'm live, you idiot.
Well, Stella, I might be frightening your guests because I'm a little bit too confrontational. So I'll drop down and let you get someone a little bit
No,
softer.
are you coming back on at 8?
I'll be around. Yeah, I'll be around.
Just get yourself back on here. You're not going to leave me on that one.
Sometimes when they see my name and they don't come in.
No, they will come in.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I'll bob back here. I'll be in the comments anyway.
Okay.
Okay, man.
Well, don't know if anybody else has got anything they want to say. Anybody else want to come up? So at 8 o'clock, I'm going to have something quickly to eat, whatever. Get myself ready, settled and ready. And I want to come back on 8 o'clock, and I want you guys to come up and tell me how you feel about, female bad behavior. I want you to come up here and say, would you call it out or wouldn't you, and why? Hi, Johnsy. Oh, somebody's going to come up.
Hello.
Hello, JJ.
You okay, mate?
Yeah. What do you think?
To your prompt,
Yeah.
I'd like to elaborate. Like, what are women doing that men are doing, as well?
So there's lies that run that say it's all men to no men, right?
Right,
And that
yeah.
means that all men are responsible for bad behavior of some of the men. Yeah.
Right.
So there's a proportion of men that are bad towards women. And so women want to hold all men accountable for that. Because the ones who are good should be speaking to the ones that are bad.
Yeah.
My prompt is, does that not go hand in hand with women then?
Yeah.
Why are you not calling out the bad behavior of women?
That is true. Yeah, it should go both ways, shouldn't it? Yeah.
Why are you not stopping women or telling women that they're wrong for alienating their children from their father?
Yeah, that happens often.
Or financially abusing the man.
Yeah. Well, they're not actually interested in the man, they're just interested in his bank.
I have to be fair here and say that actually, Haley, you're right. You do call it. You're one of the very, very few I know. But Haley, you call it more BS. End of, no matter what the situation is, you just call it the BS. So you do. But very few women do, Haley. Very few women. The consensus is, James, when a group of women are together, that if a woman says a man has done something, then he's done it. End of.
Yeah.
Without any receipts, without any evidence, and they will all stand there and say, you did it.
Yeah. I fully understand the perspective you're coming from, and you are right. You are, because I'm happy to take accountability for my friends' actions because I will put them in their place. I won't allow them to do things that are going to be harmful or get them in trouble. And I'd say, look, correct your ways, man. But How often do women do that? Like, now you've mentioned it. Like, I'm 26. I've not seen another woman tell another woman, "Yo, don't speak to him like that," or have some respect for him. Does it now? You said it. It's more realistic.
They'll go on the attack instead.
Yeah, that's their first defense mechanism, isn't it? Attack.
And this happened to me last night because I was on a live, and it was my ex best friend-ish type of thing, and we had a massive fallout. Oh, I mean, the perpetrators, though. Don't talk rubbish. Listen, Haley, I'm not having that from you. You're getting sewn up, right? Let me tell you that now, right? Because Haley's a friend, by the way, everybody, right? But me and Haley, we're at it like hammer and tongue because we're so alike. We're so outspoken. But Haley gets away with it more because she's a female.
Yeah.
Right? If she says it, nobody blinks an eyelid. Right? It's just like, oh, it's a cat fight. I know, Haley, and I know, but we're talking about bad behaviour in general. I know that there's situations, and you know I won't deny that. But like, say, take us two, right? So me and Haley are friends, right? And we're at it like hammer and tongue because we're so alike, and I only just recently realised that, yeah? And that's why it looks like we don't get on, but we do.
Yeah.
Me and Haley, if we were nice to each other, there'd be something wrong. Right? So if somebody was to see us in the street, and they would automatically think we were a couple, and they'd see me as the man being abusive to the woman, when in actual fact we're just friends and we're doing it to each other. But it's not abuse, it's banter with us, it's a laugh. And I will admit that sometimes I take it too far, and sometimes Haley takes it too far.
Vice versa.
You know, with each other. And our other group of friends sit on the outside saying, left, right, left. But that's just the dynamics of that group, you know. My partner ex said, was DV, and no one believes he didn't do it. Had no evidence he did. So my partner's ex, yeah, so your partner's ex, Vicky, was DV, and no one believed he didn't do it. Exactly. So if it's that's what I'm saying. If it's a man, it's an automatic, you did it. If it's a woman, they'll go, well, what, you stood there and let her? Well, I don't get that, because you're telling us we're not allowed to date, you know, touch women. You're saying that we can't defend ourselves, we can't do nothing. So what does a man do then? And that's like, oh, walk away. How many times does men have to walk away? How many times? So yeah, but yeah, in all honesty, if Haley was Haley, do you want to come up, by the way? Because you know I love her banter. Me and Haley go at each other on phone, on WhatsApp, on TikTok. We stalk each other. We troll each other. But we've had, you know, we've had instances. Yes, you do, Haley. Because you're secretly in love with me. Why don't you just come up and admit it? You secretly love me. And you're jealous because I'm in love with Jakey. And so is Abby. And Jakey's in love with himself. I heard you moaning last night, Haley, right? Because I'd done a caricature of you looking like the most beautiful, iconic woman in the world. I heard you moaning about that last night. So if anybody else is like, there's only 4 people in here, might as well shut down till 8 o'clock, really. Go and get myself something to eat. What do you reckon, Ellie? Yeah, okay. Thanks for joining me, everybody. 3 people that are here. I'll be back on at 8 o'clock. Bye.